Good morning, Radio Surabhi Srotalandarki Namaskaram. We are back with another episode of Powering Possibilities powered by Zoho. I am Venu Cherukupalli. I am an RJ at Radio Surabhi, the 24/7 radio station and Americalo Telugu Nestam. ఇవాళ మన కార్యక్రమానికి ఒక వెరీ స్పెషల్ గెస్ట్ జాయిన్ అయ్యారు అండ్ వీ విల్ స్పీక్ విత్ హర్ మొమెంటరీలీ. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సుష్మా, హౌ ఆర్ యూ?
Thank you, Venu. I'm doing good. Although
Awesome.
the weather is too cold.
It's a little dance, right? I mean, one day
Yeah.
it's fine and one day it's cold. And I recently packed all my jackets and I had to take them out again. And you
Yes,
toggle between heat and cold in the house.
yes, absolutely. Right.
Well, that's Dallas for you. You know what they say, if you don't like the weather, give it few minutes. It will change. It's bound to
Yes,
change. All right. Thank you so much for taking time to join with us here today. And the real goal of these episodes, Sushma, is to introduce our entrepreneurs to our community and get to know them better and really inspiring others to take the paths that you have taken. So I am very excited to speak with you this morning. And
yeah,
without further ado, let's get started. Sushma,
sure.
so you are based here in Dallas, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. And how long have you been in Dallas area, Sushma?
About 10 years now. We were
10
in
years.
Minnesota before this.
Okay, Minnesota. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Well, do you miss the cold weather there?
I don't think so anymore.
That's funny. That's funny. So, Sushma, I wanted to introduce you to our audience, but I will let you do that. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I come from my origination, right, as Bangalore. I did my medical electronics and engineering. And
Okay.
right after my engineering is where I stepped into the world of AI, which is where I built my first cancer detection application, and we sold it to one of the hospital in Bangalore.
Wow.
And then nobody cared what AI was back then, and so everybody asked me to take up a corporate job. I took a corporate job, and then rest is history. So I have been a technical leader in many corporates, including AT&T, Sirius XM, connected vehicles here in Dallas, Target, Best Buy, Southwest Airlines, so on and so forth, right? And so I've always been in the tech space. And 3 years back, I decided I'm going to start something on my own, uh, juggling between corporate and my own thing. And then just last year, I decided I'll completely focus just on the initiative that I want to take up to the next level. So yeah, that's just
Fantastic.
yeah.
Fantastic. So your foray into AI was you used the word back then. How back really is it? I know the answer, but I wanted to hear from you.
Yeah, I thought I'll not tell my age, but yeah, in
Hey,
2002.
you have good company. You are in good company, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, back then is 2002. That's when the word AI, forensics, AI was used back then only in the forensic section. And then luckily, I and one of my friends, we got an opportunity to work in DRDO, which is in India, which is a defense
Mm-hmm.
academy. And
Mm-hmm.
then also a place called NIMHANS, which is again a research in
Enhance, yeah.
neural, right? And so, and IISc, these three were the places we got to work. In one of the, among the three, we built our very own code, which we sold back to a hospital. I won't reveal which one among it because we use their data to build a product. No, I didn't use it. I'm not going to say that on the radio. Yeah.
You know, that's one of the topics that I would cover here shortly. But was the term AI even coined back then,
No,
2002? Yeah,
back then
yeah.
it was called neural networks. I mean,
Neural
it was
networks.
called as in there was no AI as a term. We would talk more like, hey, this neural network, we are going to implement CNN. We are going to use backward propagation theory. This is how the conversation would be, and vectors, and okay, let's start writing the formulas and all that, right? AI was never a word. It was slowly coming in a little later, I think, but not in
Mm,
2002. I don't think
mm.
so. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. And the and you said you formed your own organization about 3 years ago, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What was the real inspiration behind that, Sushma?
Yeah. So, as I said, in 2003 and 4, when I built, me and my friend, we built this product, our application, we didn't have a great support or a mentor that could have pushed us or challenged us to take it to the next level, coming from
Mm,
whatever humble background.
mm.
So, back then, I always felt finding that mentor is very important, right? And then fast forward 20 years or 25 years, whatever now, my son has certain dreams and ambitions to do in physics. And then we are still struggling to find a mentor, although we have a big network. It's not just physics. He wants something like astrophysics, and we are like, okay, where do I find somebody for you, right? So I realized that problems still exist. Then I started researching, is this a universal problem or just my problem? Turns out it is a universal problem. So I started my company, which is called InzpireU, to create a global ecosystem where you can find a mentor with just one click at any given point of time, right? And that's how the company started. We started off as just a community, and then now it is a B2B also. So companies, if they are running programs, they could use our products. So that's what I'm currently building.
Okay, so it really took it to fruition based on a need, just like everything else that
Yeah, yeah,
happens.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. And yeah, especially in this day and age, Sushma, I can totally relate to what you just said, finding that mentor who can guide you. There's a
Yeah,
lot of information, or if I may say,
yeah,
misinformation out there. So
yes,
you really don't know what is a trustworthy source, and you want to find somebody who gives you the information, says it like they see it,
yeah,
without actually having to sugarcoat things.
yes.
That's a very, very relevant area, and something that I can relate to. My son just started his high school, and
Mm,
we are like, okay, where do we go? Who do we
mm,
talk to? So awesome, awesome. And
yeah.
what's the tell us a little. Who coined the name Inspire You? Very, very pertinent again. Is that you?
Inspire you, it came from me. It took me months together to. I've been thinking what the name should look like, and then it became, hey, Inspire You is a great name to go with. But the real Inspire You, which is INSPIREYOU, was not available. And then I'm like, okay, I need to do something else. So I put a Z and a U, and then I looked up. It was available for trademark and for my org and everything. So I immediately coined it. I didn't start my company 3 years back. I just
Mm,
coined it because I didn't want to lose that name.
right.
And we were live only a year and a half back.
Okay.
Um, of course, because of life, corporate, whatnot, right? And then, yeah. So rest is history.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's with the Z? And you looks like you took a cue from my thought process there. And
Yeah,
so it's really a AI-enabled learning and development platform that helps organizations and individuals, right? And
yeah,
bridge
yeah,
the gap between learning and actionable outcomes. Learning, there are many, many platforms out there. But
yeah,
what caught my attention is the actionable outcomes. Speak to me a little bit about that. What do you mean by that?
yeah. So I'm not trying to create another LMS system or another program management system. Right? I mean, maybe a program management system because there are not many. So, what we do on our platform is we change the mindset of the learners. It's not about completing a certification. Say, I want to get, people come to me and ask, I want to get certified in AWS, let's say, why, what's your end goal, right? So our platform pushes the learners to think from a goal perspective. We
Mm.
give AI, which we call as co-guru. So the co-guru will help you think beyond just I want to complete a course to I want to become an AWS architect from an individual, let's say, right? That's your goal. Or from a non-technical perspective, I want to be a leader in my job from an
Mm-hmm.
individual contributor. So we give AI, which builds your goal. Along with the goal, we also curate all the courses that aligns with your goal. And these courses we pull from the market. We don't say we are creating the courses. Like we can pull it from Coursera, we can pull it from whatever is out there publicly available. And
Mm-hmm.
so we are proactively pushing them to take actions and mindset shift towards goal, and not just taking, okay, I finished the certification, check, because these days certifications probably are not that, I wouldn't say not critical, but still, the fad seems to be going that way.
Yeah, it did become something of a okay, I'll add that to my LinkedIn profile and it enhances my portfolio.
Yeah,
But really, when you talk to somebody about what they've learned and how they are applying, you
yeah.
often get a blank response. Awesome. All right. So now, who are your customers? So, we talked about the individuals who are trying to find a goal or a mission. But besides individuals, who else are your customers, Sushma?
Yeah, so universities
Mm-hmm.
and nonprofits are the biggest customers for us, and certainly corporates, right? But with corporates it changes a little bit our strategy, because they probably already have 101 tools which are learning program whatnot. So there our strategy is, how do we bring all your data into one decision system? So we help them see where they might be wasting their money. For instance, because the research is, every company which is above 100, they spend about $1,000 per employee per year. That's
Mm,
how much they spend without knowing is it adding value. So
correct.
with the larger corporates, that's a strategy, but mainly with universities and nonprofits, they run thousands of programs. But you ask them a question, how do you measure that was successful? They would never have an answer for that. So we help them give a data-driven answers.
Fantastic. I almost forgot to ask you this question. You talked about not having a mentor who you can bounce your ideas with. Who is your mentor?
Oh, I have a lot of mentors now. So
Of course,
fortunate.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So honestly, my first mentor, although it's going to sound very strange, is my 10-year-old. I know it's going to come out as, hey, why? But he's very active in the AI space. He studies, he reads through it, and when I show him a product, he's such a perfectionist that he's always like, "Mom, I don't think this will appeal to your clients." That's how he talks to me. So and when I'm down and thinking, hey, maybe this was not the path I should be taking, he's always my motivator. So I'm going to give that credit to my 10-year-old.
Okay,
That
let's take his name if you don't mind.
Yeah, his name is. No, my older will get upset. Anyway, his name is.
Okay, I'm glad I'm putting you on spot. That's what I
Yeah,
like to do.
his name is Shlok Srivatsan.
Okay,
He's like, he builds logos for me. He builds the T-shirts for us. So it's like he's our growth officer, is how I see, and my mentor. But apart
nice.
from that, the key people that have always pushed me through is my father used to be my mentor, and he's no more. And then it's a couple of them. One is called Eton Stall. He's very well known here in Dallas. He's been awarded as Mentor of the Year multiple times, I think, in Dallas startup area. So he has been my biggest mentor, because before I met him and I went and gave him my idea, he's like, yeah, okay, great, but I don't see you in any networking event. When people say you have this great idea, they need to know who you are. And
Mm,
so he would drag me literally to every events, introduce me and push me to talk, feel comfortable or whatnot. Because I'm an introvert basically, and I even wrote a book on that. But he made me go out and put myself out there. I would say each on stall, and then my other person that just stumbled into my life very recently was Stefan Boer. He's also in my advisory. He is my mentor, who's been like uh, uh, at least he's pushing. He reads my every articles, and if there are certain things that doesn't make sense, he pings me and says, "No, Sushma, you're wasting time. You don't need to talk with them, or you don't need to do this." Right? So, although I've never, it just happened. Organic mentors that are, yeah.
Yeah, it's a blessing is what I call it, Sushma. So you run into some people, and
Yeah,
they what you expect from them is, oh yeah, you're doing a great job. No, call it
yeah,
when you're not doing a good job, and that's what creating that space for you is the number one quality I
yeah,
look for in a mentor. And I've been blessed to have quite a few mentors in my life too, and my kids included. They keep me honest. And
yeah.
so what were the initial challenge? So you have the idea, you found a mentor, and you have all the tools required to take it to the next level. What are some of the challenges that you faced doing that?
Yeah, the biggest problem, sorry, biggest challenge we face in any newer initiatives or newer initiative that is driving up behavioral changes
Mm,
is the resistance towards adoption, right? Although
yeah.
I was giving the platform for free to the learners and whatnot, they enjoy coming to the platform, and they just enjoy scheduling 30 minutes with the mentor, take some notes and be done and go, which has been always the case in the world of mentorship. Nobody likes to capture the knowledge, but now we are in the era where we have to capture these ingrown knowledge base because it's going to evade otherwise. So I would say the biggest challenge for me has been to uh, one is from a B2C perspective is to change the mindset that don't put a bucket list, put a goal list, right? I mean, when I say bucket list, don't put just checklists, but
Mm,
put a goal. I think that is one of the behavioral changes that the platform is driving, which is a bigger challenge. So we have simplified a few things there, where if companies don't want to change the behavior, they can still use the platform. So we just made that recent changes. But apart from that, because we are also going after nonprofits usually are um, I mean, the challenge is that we will not be generating as much revenue as we could be generating in a for profit side. But my goal is to go after as many nonprofits as possible, even if that means we have to take a cut on it, is because
mm,
we want to make bigger impact. The data is 16 million youth this year were unable to find mentors just in United States, right?
wow.
and and the research says almost 20% of this youth, when they don't find an adult mentor in their life, they end up taking a path that is kind of not ideal, means a bad path, wrong path. So it is very important that everybody finds that mentor whom they can go after, whether it's just to say hello, but we need to be able to track that discussion conversations into what are you achieving in the goal, in your goal, right? It's not
Mm,
about I talked, I went back, and then what did you do? Because yeah, so I think adoption and yeah, the price cut that I have to go through when I go to nonprofits, which is fine if it causes bigger impact. So yeah.
that's awesome, awesome. So I want to come back to one topic that you and so there is this. So we've seen many transformations in our lifetime. We started with PC, I, and then
Yeah.
internet was the most disruptive thing, and I mean that in a good way. And then cloud computing, and now AI.
Yeah.
Um, so there are still some skeptics, if you will, about AI and where it's going to take. And I lead a team of engineers myself, and one of the common questions that I get is AI going to replace me? take my job away? And I'm sure you get that question a lot. What is your response to that?
My response to that is, so I'll respond based on not the emotions, but based on the data, current data, right? So when I'm talking to, let's say, I experiment with all AI tools because
Mm,
I write a lot, I write a lot of reviews, I write so many things. So um, whether it's Windsurf or Replit or Base 44 Lovable, let's say, or Codex, you ask it to write something, right? And it says, yes, I'm going to go build this. But then immediately challenge that and say, hey, isn't this architecture going to increase the performance? Its immediate response is going to be, yes, you're right, let me fix that for you, which means it's not proactively thinking through, let's say, the challenges that you're thinking through and asking that to perform, right? So I think until we are in that zone where we are asking, like even yesterday, I posted something on LinkedIn. My son was doing a math with ChatGPT because it's the springtime. I said,
mm.
you sit and do with this ChatGPT. And so he
Can
answered.
you speak to my son too?
So yeah, don't worry. You ask my son, he'll give a list of complaints about me. But so he was doing a math. He answered it correctly, and it said, "Good job. You are nowhere close to the right answer. So let me walk you through what the answer is." This was the AI's response, and it
Mm,
responded again 28, which is the answer he gave. So sometimes this happens, which we will call it as hallucination, we will call it
mm.
whatever, right? Until all this is happening, honestly, my answer will be, it is not going to replace our jobs, but it might end up making all of us not as complacent as we used to be. Like, hey, there's, I worked in entity, I had a very big team managing about few hundreds, right? So one thing there I have noted is there were set of people who knew everything, and now they were irreplaceable, right? And so that led to a lot of, uh, I would say, hey, I can do what I can do. There was that air of whatever, right?
Mhm.
Being engineering leader, you would have seen some of those kind of. So
Every
now
day.
there is no space for that.
Mm,
I feel complacency goes away. I don't think for the individuals that is truly thinking to solve problem and think holistic, like full design thinking and then build the product, they will still have the job according to my data driven assessment, I would say.
that's fantastic. Good to know. It's very reassuring. I think one important takeaway from what you just said is it's going to build. You need to use it to build efficiency, and AI is something you. I use this term a lot: trust but verify.
Very yes.
So that's the very key. Um, so and again, AI is the most disruptive thing that we've seen in the last few years. There's this term called responsible AI. What is it?
Yeah.
What comes to your mind when somebody says responsible AI?
In my head, when they say responsible AI, I would say it's more or less like I, as an individual, will be responsible enough to handle this AI in a way which doesn't go unethical.
Mm,
Now, yes, but in general, when people say responsible AI, it's more about how you're training your AI also, what data you're
mm,
adding,
exactly.
and how is it responding? Whether, when you see Grok AI versus any other AIs, uh, I don't know if you use it, but I use it uh, to see what not to be doing. That's why. But they're openly saying that's how they build it, right? That is their open commitment. But I feel responsible AI is, how do you ensure that you're federating your AI? Your
Mm,
your AI just doesn't go rogue on the individuals that are using it. And as an individual, I'm not prompting around some things that I shouldn't prompt. And if I prompt also, the AI should not be responding to those, right? So
got it. And you, again, we are living in a very interesting times. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And there is always a section of people that say, okay, well, AI is being used for not so good things. For example, you've seen the instances of AI being used in identifying targets um, in a conflict. There are some
Mm.
talks about AI being used to promote genocide, things like that. So again, as a corporation, who is developing that, you want to generate as much revenue as possible, but then there is this responsibility that
Yeah.
your product is being used for all right reasons. How do you draw the line between those two? I mean, there on one side you have revenue, and then there is this ethical responsibility, and you need to balance both.
Yes, we need to balance both. If you ask me, yes, I would never do anything, but you're talking genocide or target thing, right? I'll even say, which is very close to us, and probably people are very effectively using it. Is I'll not take the name of the company, but there is a software that can respond to the interview questions while you're taking the interview. Even when you share your screen, it doesn't show up. It's a
Wow.
transparent one that runs, right? And
Mm.
we'll keep but they're making money, right? I think in these areas, now when a revenue, or let's say this target, the target one, although it is a negative one, but it can be used in a more positive way to check on your enemies and things like that. There's always a positive cases, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Mm.
even this interview app should be stopped from using in an interview. When let's say I own that company or whatever, it's giving a response to the questions that you're asking, right? And whoever has built this can still make a revenue by using this software to increase sales lead or to
Mm.
increase customer service rather than the interview. So when it is used in interview, it should flag out or do
Or
something
even
about it.
prepare for an interview for that
Prepare, yes.
matter, right?
Yeah.
Having a mock interview of
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I feel when we cross that and when we make this as hey, this is a tool that will help you during interview, I think that,
Mm.
to me, based on my ethical standards, it is out. But again, if we have to say in a more non-emotional way, this is where the federal and state has to step in and say what works, what should companies do, the triaga, and also, right, what should the companies do and what can't the companies do. Like in EU, there are so many rules.
Hmm.
I also heard that you can't use Tesla there, you can't use Tesla's FSD there. So I think from an ethical standpoint, this is where state and federal should step in. I don't think, yeah.
I agree. I agree with you on that, Sushma. I want to be respectful of your time as well. I know you're super busy, but couple more questions.
Yeah,
So, what's the one app on your phone that you cannot live without?
that is LinkedIn.
Are you sure it's not Instagram?
No, I'm not on any of the social media.
Good for you. Good for you.
And my 16 year is also not on it. So yeah, they are not on the. Yeah, I'm not on social media.
Okay. Okay. So now, what's next for Inspire You?
Yeah, so InspireU started off as a building that ecosystem, and fortunately, we are getting a recognition in corporate world in B2B side of it. But my original goal of giving back to the community where youth can find mentors any given point was kind of becoming more and more commercialized. And at some point,
Mm.
I realized I am building another ADP list or another top mate. So now we are in the verge of figuring this out as a nonprofit entity by itself on the side,
Okay.
which we are calling as humentors.org, which is humanmentors.org, which
Nice.
I'm currently forming my board and other aspects, but our goal is now we split what the tech can do from InspireU's perspective, and remove the community impact and make it separate on its own. That's what I'm currently focusing on.
That's fantastic. So so there are a lot of people with a lot of creative ideas, and most of them originate from the need, like you mentioned, with your son, and they are hesitant, not hesitant, but they are doubting themselves on their ability to take that idea to the next level. What's your advice to them?
Just where I look up a lot of YouTube to get myself into that, how to face the risk and other things, right? Like what's that? What's his name? Whether it's I follow Simon Sinek.
You and I both.
Awesome.
I
So,
am a big fan of him.
and I listen to Mr. Sadhguru, and so as they all say, it's just one life. Just take a risk, but don't take an unlimited risk.
Mm.
Draw yourself a line. And I was given a line too. My husband was like, "By this time, there should be revenue." Sushma, I'm like, yeah. So we need to have that goal as to not goal, sorry, the deadline that I have this ambition or I want to do this. I'll take risk up until here and save some amount. If you haven't saved, then save, because that will help you take bigger risk and jump through it. And then once you hit that deadline, if you have achieved, great, move it forward. If you didn't, then revamp. Think through it and see where you need to shift. And that's what I'm doing at this point. So yeah.
Excellent. And thank you so much for being so transparent. And some of the questions were off the cuff. And, thanks for playing along.
Oh,
Awesome. Awesome. Sushma, it's been a great pleasure speaking with you this morning. And I'm sure many of our audience, myself included, are inspired by your story, pun intended. And thank you so much for your time. Radio Surabhi Sotalandarki, you've just listened to Sushma Krishnamurthy. She is an entrepreneur and form CTO of InspireU. And has been another episode of Powering Possibilities, powered by Zoho. Sushma, thank you so much, and
bye.
hope to see you soon.
Yes, bye.
Bye.